I said I could be a superhero, because if you don't need magical powers, like Batman, for example, he doesn't need specific magical powers. He puts on a suit and he's really good at stuff. You know, he's learnt fighting skills and all the rest of it. So I said, I could be a Clark Kent type person. You know, by day, just normal kind of geeky like guy, just knocking about the office. But actually, puts on a suit and he's zooming off everywhere, saving lives. So I was then challenged to become a superhero and to see how easy it was to become one. And first of all, I needed some advice from someone who knew a lot about this area. Now, there's a guy called Stan Lee, who a lot of you will know, who is, well, in a lot of people's minds, the creator of, well, the guy that started off a load of graphic novels and created many superheroes. And I spoke to him to get some advice on how easy it would be for me to become a superhero. I'd like to welcome along an absolute legend. It's Stan Lee. Hello.
Hey, how are you, Greg? Glad to be here.
Now, for those of you who don't know everything that you've been involved with in your career, could you perhaps give us a brief overview?
It takes me a half hour just to say my name, but I'll do the best I can. I was in at the beginning of Marvel Comics, and I was involved in the creation of so many of their characters, like Spider-Man and the Hulk and Iron Man and Thor and the Fantastic Four and the X-Men and so forth. So it's been a real exciting time for me.
Could you just talk a little bit about how you go about creating some of those amazing characters? For example, I know Spider-Man is one that's known by a lot of people.
Well, I had already done a few other characters. I had done the Fantastic Four and I had done the Hulk. So I already had somebody who could burst into flame and fly and somebody who was strong and so forth. And I was trying to think of a new superpower for a new character. And I saw a fly crawling on a wall. And I thought, gee, it would be fun to have a superhero who could crawl on walls and sort of stick to the ceiling like an insect. So that gave me the idea for Spider-Man, and lo, a legend was born.
Do you think that you need to have superpowers to be a superhero, then? Someone like Batman, for example, was a regular guy, but was just, ultra-trained. Would you say he was a superhero?
Well, that's a very good question, because according to my definition, I guess he isn't a superhero because of the fact that he doesn't really have a superpower, but by the same token, he wears the mask and nobody knows who he really is, and he almost has superpowers. I mean, the way he can shoot a wire across to another building and swing on it from building to building, he comes pretty close to being a superhero.
Do you think if you had enough money and training, you could become a superhero, or supervillain for that matter?
Well, I guess so.
Now, the thing is, I saw Watchmen. It's an excellent film. And I was spurred on by this film, amongst other things, to try and become a superhero. What do you think the first step should be to become a superhero?
The first thing you have to do is get some sort of a superpower, or even some sort of ability that sets you above most people and gives you a fighting chance to win when you go up against some criminals. What would qualify you to be a superhero? Can you fight better than anyone else, or run faster? Are you stronger?
Well, I suppose I should look into what I was maybe good at as a kid. I don't know, bike riding or cricket, whatever it might be.
That's more average, so to speak. I mean, most kids are interested in that.
But if I was to heighten these powers and maybe I became a super cricketer, for example...
Oh, yeah. Again, a superhero seems to be somebody with heightened powers, whatever they may be. Right. So if you could play cricket better than any other human being, I guess that would put you in a super category.
Right, so basically I've got to hit the ball harder than anyone else in the world. That's what we're saying, isn't it?
If that's your power, yes.
Or maybe I could go round the English counties and point out when something isn't quite cricket. You know what I mean? To say, no, that's not quite cricket. You see?
Well, I think that would just make you a not quite cricket pointer more than a superhero.
I need to think this through, don't I, Stan?
I mean, it seems to me a little old lady could do the same thing.
But if I had a nice costume on...
Well, that would help a little bit, but the little old lady could also wear a costume, couldn't she? I think maybe if you tried to do something that would be more within the realm of possibility, for example, you're not an inarticulate human being. Maybe you could become a superhero by the way you talk. Maybe you could out-talk all the villains.
Right, okay.
We could call it, let's say, the master mouth or something of that sort. Every time some villain is there and you want to apprehend them, you just talk them to death.
Okay. If you were to become a superhero, what would you love to be? What sort of
I already am a superhero, you see.
Well, obviously, we've taken that as read, but I mean, obviously, but if you were to have any power in the world, what would you like to have?
My answer will probably surprise you. I would want unfailing luck. If you're a lucky person, then you get money, you're healthy, whatever you want, because you're lucky, so it comes to you. So I could be Luck Man, and I could defeat anybody.
Would you be able to defeat the Master Mouth, though?
I think so, because I'd be luckier than he.
But I'd be better read.
Yeah, you probably are, but see, I'd be lucky in the sense that whatever we were fighting for had nothing to do with reading, so that your asset wouldn't help you in any way.
But if I did get convicted, I would be able to read my way out of prison by knowing the ins and outs of all the law.
Oh, yes, it might be very tough to keep you in prison, but I'd be lucky enough that when you came after me because you wanted to extract your vengeance against me, you wouldn't be able to find me because my luck would hold out. I can see that you and I are fated at some point
I think we are.
To contend against each other, aren't we? Mighty Mouths versus Mr. Lucky, I guess. or Lucky Lee, how about that?
Lucky Lee is a good one, yes, that would be great. Stan, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you. Thank you so much for your time. And I will, of course, let you know on what I decide on my superhero to be and my costume, and I'll send you some photos and everything. That'd be great.
Attaboy, Greg. Well, lots of luck to you, too. Bye.